Hey guys, welcome back to Antel Economics for today's podcast 17, where we are going to be talking about Apple and Tesla.
Yes, but before we talk into that, we have tweet of the week. So tweet of the week this week was replying to The Guardian, and it was stating if families have high-risk individuals, would it really be a sensible idea to send their children to school? Let us know what you think down below, because obviously we've been seeing suggestions of parents having to pay fines if they don't send their children back.
Right, so Apple and Tesla, obviously these two companies have been dominating the news. I'm sure you must have heard about this, Ravi. Well, just, what's your opinion on this? Let's go on Apple first, because I feel like Tesla is a lot more to talk about. So let's focus on Apple. Well, what's your opinion?
Well, Apple, as we've known them for many years, since the release of the iPhone, has been an extraordinary, revolutionary company, at the forefront of emerging phone technology. And I think year on year they built on their stature and portfolio. And I think we're seeing this. And I think with the upcoming release of the iPhone 12,
Yeah.
it sort of ponders a question to consumers whether it is actually worth their money now to buy these new phones, which are now costing upwards of £1,000.
Yeah, no, yeah, it seems to be working though. There's, market movement is indicating prices that have crossed 500, well into the 510s now, and we're seeing growth that has not been seen for the vast majority of this year. Yes, I agree. It's to do with the iPhone 12, but also the stock split is a large contributing factor to that as well, isn't it?
Yeah, I think Apple have really, they don't just have one sort of, they do have the iPhone, which is where they make most of their money, but they have diversified a lot in sort of where they now generate their money. The Apple Watch that came out, we've had now Apple TV come out. They are, looking towards new streams of technology which can help grow their revenue, grow themselves as a company.
Yeah, and in terms of the kind of accessibility to Apple, I think with the stock split, if I believe it is a 4-1, yeah, a 4-1 stock split, which means that for each one stock of $515, they're going to split it into four smaller ones. That's what Apple stock split is aiming to do, and in doing so, they're going to make investing in the company more accessible to everyone so more people can earn more shares. Do you think that's going to constitute a surge in demand for these shares in the future as well?
Well, I think it certainly helps to push towards a demand for their stocks and shares because it's only making it, as you said, more accessible to all.
Yeah.
By making it more accessible, there's obviously going to be a demand. Apple has always been seen to be a sort of not a safe haven, but it's always been a very sturdy stock for the past few years. It's growing,
Yeah,
good,
no, completely.
capital.
This stock split definitely has had a lot of hype building up in terms of the Apple stocks. Volume traded of Apple shares has risen quite a lot, and we're seeing astronomical growth. In terms of kind of the future projections, do you think the bubble for this rise in Apple shares is going to burst, or do you think that it's going to continue growing?
Well, I feel like Apple over the years they've done something quite extraordinary, which is they've restricted everyone who has an iPhone or Apple product to keep on buying Apple products.
Yeah.
And it's quite an amazing feat to be honest, because if we look at any other industry, if we look at the car industry, if someone buys a Mercedes, in
Yeah.
5 years' time, they may not necessarily buy another Mercedes, they'll buy a BMW.
Yeah.
Whereas Apple have sort of got their customers in a position where they will keep on buying Apple products, which is really extraordinary. And so I personally think that their growth will continue until something extraordinary happens.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I completely agree with you there. It is interesting to see how Apple's been growing into, I wouldn't say a monopoly, but into something. They've created their own kind of environment, isn't it? You have
Yeah,
the
I would
iPhone.
say I would say they do have a sort of monopoly at times on the market. They have their own software, iOS 14, iOS 13. Compared to the Android market where there are multiple different brands, I
Yeah,
think what Apple have is very unique in itself,
yeah.
although it is always seen as a luxury item, a luxury brand, because their prices at times can be quite astronomical.
Yeah, no, and they're very clever in ways to make money. Once you're in that kind of atmosphere of Apple products, it's really hard to go out. And I think Apple does well in kind of capitalized on that. You know, the movement of the headphone jack has shifted sales to AirPods. People now with iPhones, they'd want the AirPods. You know, the movement away from even the charging ports. They used to be USB charging ports, and now they're these lightning cable ones, isn't it?
Yeah.
Where you plug into the socket, and you can't get that from like a normal Tesco shop, isn't it? Like Apple would sell these, and they're just doing all of these little things that lure us into their kind of atmosphere. It's interesting to see.
It's very specialist, I must say.
Yeah,
What's your opinion on, because obviously we've had this whole corona issue and pandemic,
yeah.
what's your perspective on their upcoming iPhone 12 and how well that will do in the forthcoming year?
Yeah, so I think that the iPhone 12, obviously every year Apple releases a new phone, and this kind of corona pandemic, although it might have affected the spending power of families. I think in the more developed societies, I think sorry, not the most developed societies, but the markets in which Apple generates the most income. I think COVID is slowly recovering. I think consumerism is recovering too, and the release of this phone, which is in winter, I believe, will be quite a monumental moment for Apple in terms of sales, in terms of revenue, and I think it will be successful.
Yeah, I think I'd agree with you. I think what they're planning on doing is releasing four phones, if I'm not wrong. So there's four different sizes of variation, which makes it more accessible to people. It's like when we saw the cost of the iPhone continually rising, and then they brought out the iPhone XR because they calculated that most people who have had iPhones will probably be looking to upgrade or buy a new one when that phone came out, and they price pointed it so well that
Yeah,
it made the demand of it just rocketed. And I think they're trying to do something similar with the iPhone 12 here, where they've
yeah.
got a variety of models. They've just released the iPhone SE as well, so they're
Mm.
trying to make it as accessible as possible to people who will be looking to buy a new phone come September, October.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with you there. In terms of more market kind of analyst kind of thing, if you're looking at Apple's share, the prices have gone up. The price to earnings ratio, I believe it is around 38, 39-ish,
Yeah, I think
which is
their PE value has been quite strong over recent years, and I think
yeah.
that's always been a strong indicator towards how well Apple have done in the stock market.
Yeah, their earnings per share, which is diluted for the trailing 12 months, ending June 2020, was $13.15. So we're seeing that they're experiencing growth, they're experiencing demand, they're experiencing all of this kind of hype, and that explains this kind of surge in price.
Yeah, I must agree with you. I think they have a strong hold, and they will be strong. I think for a number of years. I can't see them going anywhere. To be fair, they've outsourced their work to China, and yeah, I think if we look at Tesla as well, we can sort of see similar things occurring there.
Oh yeah, completely agree with you. Speaking of like surging prices, even more so than Apple, we have Tesla, who've oh my god, their growth has been so large over the last few days. They're trading north of $2,050 per share,
Yeah,
and they are also looking for a stock split, isn't it? They're going for a 5-to-1 this time, so they're splitting 5 ways their shares. So
yeah.
we should be expecting their shares to be around $400 per share, roughly.
Yeah, I think that's excellent. I think if I've read in the news as well that a certain analyst expects them actually to have another surge of around 71%, which would take their value to around $3,500 per share.
Yeah, yeah,
And that,
no, I've seen that. Yeah,
yeah, the returns on that is ridiculous. I think Elon Musk he's hit it on the nail. Essentially, his business, the way that it's structured, it really is an excellent business.
oh, 100%. It's the 52-week high was nearly $2,130, which is huge growth compared to last year, and when this company was first established, their P&E ratio is 1,057.
That is ridiculous.
It is astronomical, which does beg the question: do you think that Tesla stock is overbought? Because loads of analysts, loads of indicators, the MACD, all of these kind of and the RSI, they're all indicating that Tesla is approaching this overbought region. It's a bubble waiting to burst. What do you think about that?
I think the problem with Tesla is that it's what they supply is electrical cars. It's a market which is only just breaking through and emerging right now. It
Mm,
hasn't fully actually developed, and people aren't demanding it in such quantities that it will be demanded in the next 30 years.
yeah,
The bubble, I don't think will burst. In China, they've opened up a gigantic factory. I think it's called the Gigafactory. It's a
yeah,
huge factory, and yet they still can't meet the demand for the Teslas that are required out there. So
yeah.
honestly, I think that it was just going to keep on rising until they start getting more competitors, until more people start looking at coming into the electrical market and taking it seriously,
Mm.
because there is a massive demand for it.
Undoubtedly, it will rise in the future because it's going to fill the gap in the market. It's going to fill this renewable source of transportation. But in the present day, if you're looking at the fact, their revenue is only 26 billion, nearly 26 billion. And you compare that with a company like Walmart, which has a revenue of 534 billion, nearly
Yeah.
535. But yet we're seeing that the market cap for Tesla is 300% greater than the market cap of Walmart and GM and Ford.
Yeah,
So,
but I think we can see why that is. Those companies, companies like Ford, they've hit their peak. Their petrol company, they need to change and diversify into being an electric hybrid
but
company.
their revenue is nearly 5 times greater than Tesla's.
Yeah, but I feel like Tesla has a lot more potential to grow and to succeed in the future.
So you think the kind of hype in Tesla, this like incredible hype in Tesla, is more of a bet for the future?
I think if you were to invest in Tesla today, I think in 10 years' time they'll be worth more than what they are today. Although I do see your point, I think they could go down, the bubble could burst,
Mm,
but I still think the demand will be there in 10, 15 years' time, because
yeah,
it's a company that specifies in such a niche that
yeah.
is going to be demanded. Everyone will have to move towards electric cars eventually, no matter what you think. I'm a petrol head, I don't want to, but eventually that is the reality, because we can't stop climate change at the rate we're growing.
Yeah, no, 100%. I think that this kind of rise in Tesla price was inevitable. And I think this stock split, which will only increase the accessibility to the common man even more, is just increasing this hype, increasing this kind of drive towards higher share prices for Tesla.
Yeah, I think something like the stock split is making it is forcefully making it rise almost artificially, but I feel like it will eventually rise to that point anyway.
Yeah, like I think Tesla also announced a release of a supercar next year, a $200,000 supercar, if I'm not mistaken, which is looking to compete in the same level as some Bugattis, and I think Elon Musk is really trying to change the whole geography of the car market, isn't it?
Yeah, that's now a different game. If you're going to look to fight against the best of the best, you're looking to fight against a Lamborghini, Ferrari. That's a massive step towards just trying to provide commercial used cars. So
Mm,
whether he's successful with that is another story. But
yeah,
the other thing you have to look at is how many miles can you actually run on an electric car like that. We already know that supercars like the Lamborghinis and the Ferraris are not very good looking at the mile per gallon. So how well will these sort of
yeah,
cars do when
hmm
running on electric batteries?
yeah. No, completely agree with you there. And what we're all saying is also correlating with what we're seeing in the markets, isn't it?
Yeah.
All of these indicators, all of these sentiments, the amount of volume that's been traded, all of these are pointing towards Tesla being the kind of Apple of the car industry.
Yeah, I think I can agree with you there. I think in the future we'll see a lot of sort sort of duplicates between Apple and Tesla, and the way that Apple are sort of taking the market by force. And I think Tesla is really doing that present.
Yeah, and I think what they're doing is they're combining kind of old-fashioned economic principles with the kind of modern need or demand. They're rolling up and establishing these large-scale factories in China, in USA, in parts where they were advised not to. They're utilizing benefits of globalization to produce products which are accessible to more and more people. And I think that's why Tesla is so successful today.
Yeah, I feel like they've definitely hit that on the nail. You know, they've carried out suitable investment at suitable times. Elon Musk is really, he knows where to put his money and where when to make those key decisions, which sometimes at times seem risky, but
Mm.
in fact he's proved everyone wrong because they have been the right ones in the end.
Do you think that it's a question of him proving people wrong, or it's just a masterminded plan from Elon? Because I genuinely believe if it was anyone else other than Musk leading this company, they would not experience such hype and such growth as they have now. I think what he's doing with like his tweets, what he's doing with, you know, his company, they're all filtering towards a more successful Tesla.
Yeah, I think he's very good at getting his eye in the picture. He's very good at getting that media attention and getting himself,
Mm,
which in turn gets his brand and his company Tesla out there. You know,
mm.
things like quirky things like naming his child, you know, a bunch of random symbols and letters just to
Yeah,
make things a bit more intriguing about him. It just makes the company seem a bit more intriguing, and there's a bit more about it than
yeah,
your regular car company, which I think definitely attracts people, and it's definitely helped his growth. I think a lot of other entrepreneurs wouldn't have the bravery that he has,
yeah,
and obviously, if you want to be successful in life, sometimes you have to take the risk.
yeah. 100% agree with you there. Uh, and yeah, it's just nice. It's interesting to see how even after such a turbulent 2020, sorry, we are
Yeah.
seeing companies rising to astronomical highs.
Yeah, I feel like it's always good, you know, economic growth is something that I'm not sure about economic growth actually, because I've been reading into that and I've seen a lot of different stuff about how we should look towards prosperity. And I don't know, I'm sort of starting to believe that we should be focusing on prosperity rather than economic growth. Sorry, I'm on a bit of a tangent here,
Yeah,
but
no, fine. Yeah.
um,
Um.
what's your
Do
opinion
you
on that?
do you think that prosperity is obtainable without economic growth?
Do I think prosperity is attainable without economic growth? See, I feel like prosperity should come before economic growth. Whether it's obtained without economic growth is sort of a bit different. But I feel like the well-being of individuals in that country should come first. And once you have that cemented, then I feel like economic growth will follow due to that.
But do you view economic growth as a means to the end or the end? Because I think of it as a means to the end. You know, you use the growth to facilitate the attainment of prosperity
I
rather
think,
than the
yeah,
growth is the end goal.
yeah, I think economic growth is important, but I don't think it's the be all and end all. So I don't think
Yeah.
we should strive for complete economic growth, as much economic growth as we could drive out of our nation,
Yeah.
whilst letting other people in the nation suffer and
Mhm.
other people get richer and richer. There should be a balance between achieving sustainable economic growth and also achieving sustainable prosperity in countries.
Mm. Do you
Yeah.
think that that's possible though?
Do I think it's possible? I don't think it is possible because in these countries, everyone is driven by economic growth. The whole world is driven by money and
Yeah.
economic growth. Everyone just looks towards the end goal, which you were talking about. So
Mhm.
everyone looks towards achieving, you know, who can be the richest country, who can
Yeah.
be the powerful country, and those things require economic growth. They don't require the prosperity of people. But
Yeah.
if we're looking at the most prosperous countries, you'll be looking at countries like Luxembourg.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%. It's an interesting idea whether you know you can have prosperity and success without inequality. Actually, that's a good topic for next week.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Maybe let us know down below if you want to hear us talk about economic prosperity and economic growth.
Yeah. So I
Thank
think that's a good
you.
note to end it on.
Thank you guys for listening. Make sure you subscribe, comment, and like down below.
Yeah. Thanks for watching, guys. See ya.